If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my.
I done been around the world. Yeah, I was made for this.
Player Performance with J.A. Cavalier.
Welcome to NBA Player Performance, Tuesday, January 14th, 2025, the second Tuesday of the year. We got 7 games on the card today. It is the Shark, guest hosting for J.A. Cavalier. Big card tomorrow. J.A., get your ass back in here with us. We got Luke, the prop master, sitting in a car dealership right now. Vibes are up. Luke, what's going on, brother?
Yep, we're joking here. I'm in the car dealership working on the road. Sometimes you need maintenance. And my free picks lately have needed a little maintenance. We're going to change things up. VIP cards been slamming. We're going to keep that going. But I needed to change things up for the followers. We're in the car dealer. We're working analytics. Let's see if we can find some winners.
Not waiting around. NBA Player Performance. No fluff, all business. First play, we're taking Oklahoma City on the road at Philadelphia tonight. That is 10.5 or 11.5 now, my official play. And really going through this, Oklahoma City is an absolute unit this year. 32-6 straight up, 28-10 ATS. Just coming at every team with significant emphasis. This team is incredibly well coached. Mark Daigneault went to UConn, undergraduate assistant with Jim Calhoun, then coached under Billy Donovan at UF and the Thunder. And if you guys watch the Thunder, this team loves playing with each other. It's like a fraternity out there. And I think one of their quotes, I believe Jalen Williams said after one of the games recently, we feel like we're playing college ball. We enjoy playing with each other that much. And they just keep turning up to a higher level. And I know a lot of people that look at this game probably say, this is a trap spot. Their next game at home against Cleveland, a revenge game, one of the biggest games of the year. I don't think so. OKC is 4-0 ATS to close a road trip, if not on a front-end back-to-back or on a Sunday. And they are 7-1 as a favorite at the Eastern Conference. And this is not Philadelphia from yesteryear. Joel Embiid barely plays. Nick Nurse seems confused, disengaged. I would even say disinterested. I was listening to a Philadelphia press conference the other day. I gotta say, I was very unimpressed with what he was saying. It seemed very scattered. And speaking of scattered, Paul George for the Sixers is from California. He's noted as being very heady, very emotional. And there were some quotes coming out this week about how he's donating money, he's thinking about people out there, and rightfully so. But I think this is a distraction tonight. And this is a Philadelphia team that is 0-6 ATS this year at home against the West without Joel Embiid. This is a blowout line. It's a double revenge game. Philadelphia did beat the Thunder twice last year. This will have added motivation to the Oklahoma City side. Both those games were propped up by Joel Embiid. This is a blowout line. I think OKC wins this game by 20 plus tonight. Luke, any thoughts on this game?
I like that take because if they blow them out, rest the starters, get ready for that next game. I think that's the mindset they're going to have. I have a lean in this game. I don't have an official play. Of course, my lean is someone who's listed as a game time decision. Shocker. Everyone is listed as questionable. You guys hear Shark and I joke about this, the last week or so, but really these injuries have made our jobs truly a lot harder and it's affected the betting market substantially. But I'm going to lean with Caleb Martin of the Sixers to go over 8.5 points. Hopefully he does suit up. If he does, he's actually started the last 9 games that he's played in. What has he done during that stretch? 9.7 points per game. And then very impressive, 54% from three-point range. If he plays tonight, I think he sees enough minutes and action to get to 9+ points. That would be my lean.
Yeah, you made a great point about potentially resting late, obviously looking ahead to the Cleveland game on Thursday night. I think the first quarter and the first half are also very, very sharp looks for OKC here. And a lot of their blowouts at the East, they've come out great. And this team is an early team. So we might be looking at that later in the day. But official play, OKC, minus 10.5 or minus 11.5. Staying in these out-of-conference games. And Luke and I were just talking about this before we clicked into the show here. This is really the last day for a while where we're seeing so many out-of-conference, non-rivalry games. Tomorrow it flips heavily to games we love to handicap, but we are here for you on NBA Player Performance. Suns at Hawks, 7:30 in Atlanta. This injury report is not pretty. We don't know if Trae Young's going to play. He's had some tendonitis. Now apparently he's sick. I mean, you talk about credibility in this sport. How are all these guys getting sick? They're under 30 pro athletes. They should be healthy. I'm not buying it. I would lean towards the Suns here to take care of business, but Luke's on a prop. Rookie Zachary Rissache from France, under in the 3-point market, 1.5 field goals.
What a nice pronunciation there. Thank you for doing it for me, but I still have to say it. It's Zachary Rissache, in case you did not catch that. He's actually having a really good rookie campaign, but I'm fading tonight his 3-point line. He's averaging just 0.8 made 3-pointers per game in January, so less than one, and he's shooting just 25% from 3. He's not hot. And tonight they put his line at 1.5, and it's not even juiced that bad. He's sitting at minus 140, so a little bit of juice. But I'm fine with that because the under has cashed in 12 of 15 games. That's 75% of the time lately. His makes are down, shot attempts down, confidence way down. I don't care if Trae Young plays or not. I'm fading him here. That's under 1.5 threes for Zachary Rissache.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, this game is really tough to handicap. Both teams, identical records, 19-19. You get a revenge game for Atlanta. They did take a recent loss in Phoenix, but if Trae Young doesn't play, it's impossible to handicap. And Jalen Johnson is also out for the Hawks. We would lean towards the Suns. I think this is very similar to what the Suns did at Philadelphia recently. They were laying the same number on the road. Philadelphia was missing big players, and they did win by 10 points. Lean towards the Suns. Official for Luke. Rissache under 1.5 3-point field goals. Staying with the prop market here, another out-of-conference game, 8 o'clock in Chicago. Pelicans, incomprehensibly disastrous, 8-32, 3-16 on the road. Bulls, one word, mediocre. Hard game to cap, but Luke in the prop market, looking at CJ McCollum over 19.5 points.
I do. I know this is not a premier game for betting, but I think the props, the overs have value. I guess I'd like to lean to you on the analysis for the game, but it feels like this should be a shootout. I mean, both teams have pretty poor defenses. I see it just being a score fest with the Bulls' frenetic offensive pace. Because of that, the Pellies have to try and keep up. They're going to get shots up. I like McCollum over 19.5 points. He's been on a frenzy himself through January. He's played 7 games. 25 points per game in that span. Of course, it was a little bit inflated from his 50-point outing recently against the Wizards. But I also see that Zion's coming back from injury. I really do think that actually only helps open up the offense more. And the Bulls allow the 3rd most points per game to opposing shooting guards. I just don't see a way where McCollum shoots less than 15 to 20 times tonight. That's more than enough to get him to his number. As long as he doesn't go over from three-point land, I want McCollum over 19.5.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I mean, this team, at what point did they become a bye team? I mean, this is a playoff team from years past. And, I think people that had watched this team as they were growing thought this is a team that actually could rival the arc and the growth point of Oklahoma City. I mean, you guys got to remember, even going back 2 seasons, Oklahoma City was kind of hovering right at the back end of the play-in tournament, and then all of a sudden they skyrocketed to the 1 seed last year. But if we had actually rewound this 24 months ago, we would have said, okay, New Orleans and OKC, very similar conversation. And you talk about one team skyrocketing, the other cratering. I mean, this is, as I said, really hard to figure out. And I think obviously the key point, injuries. This team, it just, everybody's hurt. Ingram, Zion's been in and out. McCollum's been in and out. DeJounte Murray broke his hand the first game of the year. Talk about setting yourself up for potentially a campaign like this. But 3-16 on the road, come on, guys. I think they are showing some upward momentum. They did just compete really well at Boston. This team is a bye team. Chicago's very inconsistent. This is the best look in the game, I think, by a mile. If the Pelicans are going to compete, as I think they will, CJ will score the ball in the absence of Ingram. and I believe DeJounte Murray. Take the over, CJ McCollum. Let's cash. Staying out of conference yet again, 8 o'clock in Milwaukee. Official for me, Milwaukee on the money line, minus 135, 1.25 units. Great spot. When I was looking at the board, this is the first spot that really stood out to me for numerous reasons. One, Milwaukee just got blown out on the road at New York on Sunday afternoon, 140 to 106. This is an ex-championship team. When they lose by 34 points and give up 140, inevitably they will bounce back and they will be much more focused here to compete tonight. I think that game was just an outlier. The Knicks shot close to 60% from the field. The game tipped off 3 o'clock on an afternoon game, which we know for whatever reason, when the game's at a weird time, certain teams don't perform to normal expectations. And, speaking of normal expectations, Milwaukee has not performed well at home recently either. 2-8 ATS last 10 at the Fiserv Forum. I love buying low on that as well. This is a team that has been great historically in this gym. Giannis wants to defend his home court. 2-8 over 6 weeks is really hard to figure out. Couple melts, couple big line non-covers against bottom feeders. Nonetheless, buy. Milwaukee is on a front-end back-to-back. They play Orlando tomorrow night at home as well. And I was going through this, and I really love this. Milwaukee is 3-0 ATS at home on the front end of a back-to-back. So they bring their energy night one, not night two. And I think this is a great spot to fade Sacramento. Sacramento acquired DeMar DeRozan in the offseason, moved Harrison Barnes, still have the core of Fox and Sabonis. They were terrible to start the season. They fired Mike Brown. They promoted ex-player Doug Christie. And since that promotion, they've been scorching hot. Okay, it makes sense. Brown wasn't connecting. New coach Joel, we get it. Now they're too hot. 7-0 straight up last 7, 6-1 ATS. Final game of a 3-game road trip at the East. I think they're capped out here. They beat Boston on Friday emphatically at the TD Garden, 114-97. And then on Sunday, they beat Chicago in a tight one, 124-119. Key point there emotionally. We were talking about Paul George maybe being scattered tonight. DeMar DeRozan homecoming to Chicago. They honored him. They competed huge. Now they got to stay on the road and catch Milwaukee in this anger spot. And I think this is just a brutal spot for Sacramento going home for a homestand after this, a TNT game against Houston on Thursday night. Final point on this, Sacramento did cover both games against Milwaukee last year. We like buying low statistically there on Milwaukee, and it is a revenge game. March 12, 2024, Sacramento 129, Milwaukee 94, one of the worst losses of Giannis's career. He will remember getting his ass kicked at the Knicks. He will remember getting his ass kicked at Sacramento. Huge spot tonight. Love Milwaukee on the money line. Minus 135, 1.25 units. I think Luke agrees in the prop market. Fading Sacramento, fading one of their best players, Domantas Sabonis, under 40.5 in the PRA market.
I do, and this is correlates with your take, and I absolutely love the play. I'm tailing you on this Milwaukee Bucks money line. I just love the play, so I'm going to hype it up. Great research and great read on that too, Shark. I'm my own self-critic. I'm actually going to up this too. I have an official play, and it's not just a free play. My free plays haven't been hitting near as much as I would like them to, 55 to 60% minimum range. So I'm giving away a free VIP play here. This is a VIP 20-star rated play, Sabonis under 40.5 PRA. And let me break it down real quick. I'll be quick with it. I usually actually back Sabonis on the overs in his PRA market. They've cashed for me a bunch of times this year. But this is a spot with an angry Milwaukee team coming off that big loss. I think they defend really well and make things tough. And I don't see it being that high scoring of a game. And the line functionality here also favors the under. He's been crushing it statistically. His PRA line usually is like 42.5, 43. Odds makers bring it down to 40.5. I think that speaks volumes. I think it's for good reason. Give me the under here for a VIP play, and let's cash that ticket. Maybe even same game parlay.
I agree. And as we've said a few times already, of all the games tonight, we really are locked in on this one. So for those of you guys that are tailing with us, let's dominate. 3 more games on the card. We actually have a game in conference tonight, a national game in Dallas. Denver at Dallas, 4th matchup of the year. So we're complaining. Well, we're not complaining. We're discussing how a lot of these games are one-offs out of conference, not a lot of information. There's a ton of information here. This is the 4th matchup of the year with these teams. It's terrible information, however. The rosters between these teams seem to change every time they play. Will Jokic play? Luka's out. Kyrie on the injury report. He didn't play last time. We never know who's playing. Aaron Gordon just got back from the injured list. Russell Westbrook, perpetual enigma. We don't know. So many moving parts. Denver just beat Dallas on the road in the previous game on a very similar number, -5.5. This opened at 5.5, getting steamed towards Dallas. I'm not entirely sure why. I think that could be some syndicate action, just buying the fact it's a revenge game, 2 consecutive games in your home gym. You have to play better. And I do like that angle psychologically. I don't like it numerically, though, because the books don't like Dallas here. The books like Denver again. And as we mentioned, Dallas, roster-wise, all over the place. Luke, as I said, this game is incredibly difficult. Do you have anything on this game?
It is so hard to handicap. So I'm just going to give a really quick lean, no official play here, but I actually like PJ Washington of the Mavs to hit at least 2 3-pointers. So that's 2 plus 3-pointers made. He was 0 for 2 against the Nuggets when they just played last time out, but I think he bounces back. He's shooting 38% from 3 on the season, and he averages 1.6 made threes per game. You can get this line. I'm seeing it at -120 to go over 1.5 made threes. My analytics project him for 1.95, so they're saying he should make 2 at a line of -120. That's good value. I'm just giving away good value as a lean. I don't, no guarantee here, but I like the over for 2 plus 3s on PJ Washington.
I wouldn't disagree. PJ Washington, of course, really reinventing himself, coming out of Kentucky as an old school big guy, and now a real 3-and-D specialist. So I think that's a sharp play there. Tough game, ATS.
And if there's if there's no Kyrie, no Luka, someone's got to score too. So he should get some looks tonight too.
Without question. I mean, if you guys recall the playoffs last year, this guy really kind of had a coming out party in some games. I believe at one point, at one of the games, he had like 7 or 8 threes. Yeah. And I think a lot of people were like very quickly, a little bit like eye-opening, like, wait, where is this coming from? Like, where did this guy come? He was at Kentucky. He was like a classic 7-footer, like playing inside the paint. Now he's a sharpshooter from the outside. But great look there, keeping it moving. 10 o'clock, Nets, Blazers. Worst game on the card. I know if J.A. was sitting in here hosting, he would say, we're going to keep it moving. We're going to keep it moving. Final game on the card, 7 o'clock. As I mentioned, TNT National in Dallas tonight. The first game of the doubleheader, actually Cleveland at Indiana. This is a really interesting spot. Cleveland just lost at home on Sunday to the Pacers. Only their 5th loss of the year. And this is really like a playoff series. You lose at home to Indiana. You go on the road to Indiana. However, one element we really don't like in this game, Tyrese Halliburton's not playing. First time all year, and something you guys might be aware of. If you're not, we'll tell you now. In contemporary basketball, when the best player is out, oftentimes the other team does not bring their biggest effort, and the team missing their best player, all the role players play a great sort of European team-style ball and just turn up their quality in the isolated environment. We don't know how to read how the Pacers are going to play without Tyrese. We like the psychology of Cleveland to go in there, 1 at home, 1 road, and revenge them. That makes so much sense, but it's just a lot of moving parts. Luke, any thoughts on this game?
I love the breakdown of the role-playing mentality. We see it time in and time again. And I don't have a play here other than the analytics for whatever reason. I'm just going to follow this as a numbers play. They love fading Georges Niang here in almost every category. I would pick his points, if anything, under 7.5. Projections show him for 5 to 6 points tonight. Doesn't sound like a big difference, but when you're looking at a single digits point score, every point is actually a large amount of value. He averages 8.5 on the year. When the books go low here, they go low for good reason. His rebounding total is also a little bit too high for my liking, but that was too juiced last time I checked. So I'm going under 7.5 points as a lean.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, if you guys want to bet this game, and I know people do, it's a national game, you want to watch it, and if Jay was here, he'd give you a take because he always caps the national games on NBA player performance, but the game has to lean towards Cleveland. You're not looking at Indiana tonight. Cleveland's going to be super pissed off here. They're going to want revenge. They haven't lost a lot of games this year, so we don't really have a lot of data in terms of how they bounce back. There's some moving parts here, but take Cleveland if you guys want this, and I think Cleveland's a nice piece in the same game parlay. They may not cover 9 points, but I do not see them losing outright. So if you want to pair them with, I don't know, what's another game that looks pretty juicy here? Oklahoma City and maybe, I don't know, Phoenix. That's a nice little 3-gamer, but it's going to be tough regardless. Nonetheless, the fastest 20 minutes you will find on the internet, NBA player performance, the Shark, and Luke Shuey. We got a bunch of plays tonight. Oklahoma City, minus 10.5, minus 11.5 for myself. And Milwaukee on the money line, 1.25 units. Luke, 3 top plays, 3 official plays. CJ McCollum, over 19.5 points. Zachary Risache, shout to France, under 1.5 3-point field goals in that market. And Domantas Sabonis, under 40.5 PRA. I believe Jay will be back tomorrow. He is the man. He is the dog. He is the legend. I am the Shark. This is Luke Shuey. It is NBA Player Performance. On this Tuesday, January 14th, 2025, always bet responsibly. Please drop likes and comments. We will interact with you. We appreciate you guys immensely. Take care of yourselves. 2 words from me. Let's dominate.
Let's dominate.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing.